Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I had a subscriber ask a question, which I will flip in here, and he says, Jason, I know you're against a lot of supplements, but what about multivitamins, probiotics, omega-3 supplements? This is a multi-million-dollar industry. Is it all a scam? So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, do a little bit of crafting, and let's talk about it. You got that wrong by well over a margin of over 1,000-fold off. Multi-millions? No, billions. Billions of dollars in the United States alone. Last time I had checked, I believe the general supplement industry was a $6 billion a year industry in the United States. $6 billion, not millions. Yeah, it's big. As far as these products go, are they scams? Some are, some aren't. You name some interesting ones, because this stuff, we're not talking about muscle gains, we're talking about fat loss, we're talking about general health. Which of these is most likely to not be a scam? I think it's fair to say omega-3 supplements. There's decent data out there showing that people who are deficient in omega-3 have some health benefits from supplementing small amounts of it. Fish oil works great as long as it's filtered fish oil, no mercury in it. It doesn't go rancid, which means as soon as you pop the cap, actually you need to freeze it before you even pop the cap. Usually the best thing you can do with it is, again, a quality one that hasn't spoiled that you can freeze. Fish oil is fine. It has a lot of health benefits. There has definitely been marked health benefits for people taking as much as 5 to 6 grams of it if they're deficient in it, in omega-3s, which again, the EPA and DHA in fish oil, and assuming, like people with cardiovascular disease. There's been definite data out there showing people with certain cardiovascular diseases that supplementing fish oil helps. The argument becomes, again, what's your diet look like, though? There are people who aren't deficient, and I know that sounds rare, but the thing is, there are people out there who eat enough grass-fed meats, wild game, and eat enough green vegetables that they're not necessarily deficient in omega-3 fats. And what you find is that people who consume a fair amount of it in the form of ALA become more efficient at converting ALA to EPA and DHA. And that's what you need to remember there. Your body can make EPA and DHA out of ALA. So again, we're getting into the topic of, is it necessary? For some people it might be. People who have a decently balanced diet might not benefit as much or might not benefit at all. And that's what you have to factor in with all of that. That's the important take-home point there. But you also need to be aware that you can also overdo omega-3 supplementation. And I've even seen Alan Aragon publish research on that over the years, and he's a big proponent of fish oil for health benefits, but he also even has produced data showing that exceeding about 10 grams of fish oil a day, which could come from someone even consuming way too much fatty fish, but more than 10 grams a day, and that's not a lot when you think about it in terms of a food source, can actually compromise your immune system. So even though there are definite cardiovascular benefits to omega-3 fats, too much of them, it can actually harm your health. So it can become a problem. Now, as far as probiotics go, I throw this one kind of in the area of scam. The reason they're not necessary, these probiotic supplements are being taken basically to replace commonly available food sources. The reason you would want to take some sort of probiotic is because your gut flora is out of balance. Things like acidophilus in your GI tract, the good bacteria that helps you. It helps improve your immune system. It helps you digest your foods, particularly break down fibers and things and ferment these things. There are metabolic benefits to that too, by the way, as far as helping your metabolism. So there's a lot of things going on with that gut flora. Sometimes it gets too low. It can become imbalanced, or particularly antibiotics will knock it out. But you know what your doctor tells you to do? Every medical doctor out there will say, go get some yogurt. Go consume yogurt with live cultures. You can get it at any store for the next 2 weeks. Consume some every single day after you finish this course of antibiotics, or even start it while you're on it. That's what a medical doctor or a dietitian will tell you. That's the easiest fix. Now, you'll have people say, well, I don't do dairy, I'm vegan or vegetarian. Well, then you can just stay fucking sick. I mean, you see the situation there, guys? You're going to put your dietary practices ahead of your own health. And if that's your choice, then by all means do so. But you need to understand that you're going to pay a price for that, and that's your conscious choice to make. You want to eat yogurt. But the thing is, as far as these probiotic supplements go, there's no guarantee that you're keeping these cultures live. Are these things freeze-dried? Are they freeze-dried when you get them and then you put them in your freezer? I mean, and are you sure that's going to keep the bacteria alive? They're putting them at certain temperatures in an environment to where they don't necessarily have a food source anymore. These things don't have a shelf life in a pill that's going to sit on a shelf for 6 months and these active cultures be alive the way that you want. So no, that makes them kind of a hustle. And if they're trying to claim it's something besides a live bacteria culture as a probiotic, then it's a hustle and they are scamming you. All right, that would fall under the category of scams. Now, multivitamins. I've made my stance pretty clear on that. Multivitamins. Out of the top experts in the world, and I've been saying this for years, the top experts in the world, the people who know more than me, know more than you, know more than 99.99% of this audience listening about nutritional science, the actual leading researchers, argue among themselves still. There is no consensus which of these three things is true of multivitamins. And this is what you have to understand. One group thinks that they're possibly beneficial, probably beneficial and safe. Another group thinks that they're just a worthless waste of money, and another group thinks they're dangerous. So the top experts in the world with PhDs in the field who do research can't make up their own minds if they're useful or not. So how are you supposed to make up your mind? And when you have 2 out of the 3 groups saying they're either useless or dangerous, I think that speaks volumes about why they might not be useful. And ultimately, why are you taking a multivitamin? Because you eat a bad diet. Now, as far as the scam end of it goes, there was a myth that was perpetrated by the vitamin industry generations ago that isn't true. And people still repeat it as the reason you need a multivitamin. They say because our soil is so depleted that the vegetables and crops that we grow don't have as many vitamins and minerals in them as they did in nature. It's a complete myth. Even with the depleted soil, which we put fertilizers back in, by the way, and you need to understand the plants create the vitamins themselves. Based upon their sunlight, the content of the minerals in there, well, the fertilizers refertilize the ground with what they need. A lot of our foods today are superfoods. All right, they contain more vitamins than anything found in nature. We have selectively bred and in some cases genetically modified our food so that most of the vegetables and stuff you eat today are more nutritious than they were in nature. They're more nutritious than they've ever been. So if ancient humans were able to eat enough of these lower nutrient ones to get the vitamins they needed to survive and to be old enough to have children and raise children and everything else, what would make you think that the soil is so depleted that the ones today that are superior, even with this supposed depleted soil, can't get the job done? They're superior. Total myth. It is not that hard for people who eat a very balanced diet to get pretty much everything they need out of their diet. In the case of you being deficient in something, it's a bad idea to take a big multi-spectrum vitamin and mineral supplement, particularly the minerals. The metal end of it, you can overdose. And a lot of you guys out there, you're consuming more calories than the average person because you're active, you're physically active. You need more calories, right? And a lot of you eat cleaner diets than the average person. So you have more minerals and metals in your diet already. You go throwing more on top of it in supplement form, you are having the possibility of creating dietary imbalances and absorption problems and everything else by taking these. So I think multivitamins are a scam. And you shouldn't have to go to a store and buy something that hopefully has what it says in it. If you have an actual vitamin or mineral deficiency, that should be diagnosed by your doctor. Your blood work, your checkups, your blood work should identify a lot of that. If you have symptoms of these things, you talk to your doctor and they test for it. When you start describing the physical symptoms you're having, and you guess what? Then you get prescribed a prescription grade vitamin or mineral for what you're deficient in, and your insurance usually covers it. You're not walking to the store and buying a $30 bottle of vitamins every month, or 10 or 5 or whatever. You pay the copay on your prescription, you get the exact one you need, and your doctor can regulate your dose with blood work so that it's perfect. That there's no risk of underdose and no risk of deficiency. This is a medical issue. It's not something you just throw a broad spectrum multivitamin at. If you're deficient in one thing, you need that one thing. And there are a few vitamins out there that do that. You know, if you're vegan, you probably need to be taking a B12 supplement, although tons of foods are supplemented with it. You know, if you're anemic, you probably need an iron supplement, but your doctor will supply that. If you're darker skinned and in too dark of an environment, you might need a vitamin D supplement. If it's winter time and you're suffering from depression, you might benefit from a vitamin D supplement. You don't need a broad spectrum multivitamin, multi-mineral for these things. They are, in my opinion, a scam, along with the probiotics. But the fish oil, not so much. Omega-3 supplements have their actual uses. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.